Hi, this is Chris McCaley with some frequently asked questions about Joint Rule 10.5 and California fiscal bills. So first, what does Joint Rule 10.5 of the California Legislature's Joint Rules provide? Joint Rule 10.5 specifies guidance to the Office of Legislative Counsel, or the OLC, when the attorneys there are determining whether a bill should be keyed as a fiscal bill. The keying of a bill is done by the drafting attorneys at OLC. So what happens if a bill is keyed fiscal? If the OLC determines that a bill is fiscal, then the measure will be re-referred to the Appropriations Committee in each House after the Policy Committee hearing. What happens if a bill is not keyed fiscal? If the OLC determines that a bill is not fiscal, then the measure will be sent only to a policy committee or perhaps more than one policy committee for a hearing, unless the Appropriations Committee requests from the Rules Committee and receives that bill. So what is the text of Joint Rule 10.5? Well, the first section deals with referral to fiscal committees, and it says that a bill shall be re-referred to the fiscal committee of each house when it would do any of the following. 1, appropriate money. 2, result in a substantial expenditure of state money. 3, result in a substantial increase or loss of revenue for the state. 4, result in substantial reduction of expenditures of state money by reducing, transferring, or eliminating any existing responsibilities of any state agency, program, or function. Concurrent and joint resolutions shall be re-referred to the fiscal committee of each house when they contemplate any action that would involve 1, any substantial expenditure of state money, or 2, any substantial loss of revenue for the state. And those requirements do not apply to bills or concurrent resolutions that contemplate the expenditure or allocation of operating funds. So what is the first instance when a bill will be keyed fiscal by the attorneys at the Office of Legislative Counsel? It's for a bill that appropriates money. That is easy to ascertain because the language of the bill would actually appropriate a specified sum of money from the general fund or a special fund to a specific purpose. What's the second instance when a bill will be keyed fiscal by OLC? It's for a bill that results in a substantial expenditure of state money. What does expenditure of state money mean? While there's not a definition of this phrase, on occasion the OLC determines that a bill will not result in the expenditure of state monies under a proposed law change. For example, if a department's workload will remain the same with additional cases being addressed when the courts receive them. What is the third instance when a bill will be keyed fiscal? A bill that results in a substantial increase or loss of revenue for the state is a fiscal bill. This type of bill is relatively easy to determine, such as a tax bill that creates a new tax credit or exemption, which would result in a loss of revenue, or a bill that repeals a tax credit or exemption that results in an increase in revenue. And what's the fourth and final instance when a bill will be keyed fiscal? A bill that results in the reduction of expenditures of state money relating to a state agency, program, or function. Such a measure should generally be easy to determine because the bill would specify that it reduces, transfers, or eliminates an existing program, agency, or function of the state. And finally, can Joint Rule 10.5 be suspended? Yes, this rule may be suspended in either house for a particular bill by approval of the Committee on Rules of that house and a 2/3 vote of the membership of that particular house. Results in the suspension of Joint Rule 10.5.